The image you are seeing hides a terrible secret. In it, you can see Adolf Hitler at his summer residence in the Alps, accompanied by a 7-year-old girl. And although you may find it hard to believe, the girl next to the greatest anti-Semite in history is Jewish. Today, in this new episode, we will tell you everything about Hitler's Jewish daughter. Rosa Bernhardine Nienau, nicknamed Berni, was born on April 20, 1926, in the German city of Dortmund. Little is known about her family life, although sources indicate that her father, Bernhard, was a doctor who died shortly before her birth. The girl was left in the care of her mother, Karoline, a nurse who had some sympathy for Nazism. During those years, the National Socialist movement was on the rise, though few could foresee the war that would devastate Europe. In the spring of 1933, just a few months after Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany, Berni traveled with her mother to the Bavarian Alps, a mountainous area in the south of the country, near the Austrian border. There, the Nazi leader had his vacation residence, a luxurious chalet called Berghof. This house was where the Führer retreated when he wanted to take a break, and it ended up being the place where he spent most of his time in power. Some of his most iconic photos, like the one you are seeing right now, were taken here. Berghof played a significant role in Nazi propaganda, portraying Hitler as an ordinary citizen who enjoyed his books and the company of his dogs, aiming to erase the image many had of him as a violent and inhumane dictator. The Chancellor of Germany used to receive hundreds of followers at the chalet, who gathered at the entrance to cheer and congratulate him on his recent appointment. April 20, 1933, was Hitler's 44th birthday, and a group of people had gathered outside the chalet to greet him. Not coincidentally, it was also Berni's birthday. Her mother knew about this coincidence and decided to use it to grab the Führer's attention. She began to mention that her daughter was turning 7 years old, and the comment eventually reached Hitler's advisors. When the Chancellor learned that they were both celebrating their birthdays, he didn't hesitate to call his personal photographer to capture the moment. The image was appealing as it depicted him as a loving father figure with his daughter. Furthermore, at first glance, Berni appeared to meet all the requirements to belong to the Aryan race. She was a blonde girl with blue eyes and an endearing smile, who could have passed as the descendant of an SS officer. As mentioned earlier, Hitler was acutely aware of the power of propaganda, and just as he used the Berghof chalet to present himself as an ordinary man, he also liked to be photographed surrounded by children. The aim was to portray himself to the German people as a family man, even though he was not married and had no desire for offspring. Here you can see how Hitler interacted with children during military parades. The Führer was enchanted with the girl and the fact that they shared birthdays, so he decided to take her inside Berghof to show her the residence. As you can see in this image, he also ordered them to prepare a delicious snack of strawberries and cream for her. It's impossible to know the true motivations of Berni's mother. She may have simply sought fame through her daughter, or she might have wanted to use the opportunity to get closer to Hitler's inner circle and improve her social standing. In any case, the photo of the Chancellor with the girl became one of the most widely circulated by the Nazi propaganda machine, to the point where many dubbed her the Führer's daughter. On the other hand, this marked the beginning of a peculiar friendship between young Berni and the leader of National Socialism. Over the next 5 years, they remained in contact through correspondence. In fact, on some later occasions, the girl visited him again. Today, 17 of her letters are preserved in the Federal Archive in Berlin, which were likely written with her mother's assistance. In these letters, you can see the strange quasi-family relationship that developed between them. Let's read a passage from a letter addressed to Wilhelm Bruckner, Hitler's personal secretary, with whom the girl was also close. Munich, September 27, 1936. Dear Uncle Bruckner, I have many things to tell you. During the holidays, we went to the Alps, and I was allowed to see Uncle Hitler, twice. Unfortunately, you weren't there on either occasion. I'm already working on my Christmas gifts. Last year, I knitted socks for Uncle Hitler, and when I asked if the size was right, he said yes. That's why I'm making another pair just like it. I got better quality wool to knit them, and my mother is helping me. They'll be very warm, so that when he travels, he won't feel cold at all. The girl truly felt close to the dictator and, as we can see, referred to him and other Nazi leaders as if they were her family. However, Berni's mother harbored a great secret that was about to jeopardize their relationship. It was information that, if it fell into the wrong hands, could even endanger the girl's life. In reality, the girl did not meet the criteria to be considered part of the supposed Aryan race. Her grandmother, Ida Morgenstern, had Jewish ancestry, which meant that Berni did as well. It is impossible for the girl's mother to have been unaware of her own family's origins, but everything indicates that she trusted that this information would never come to light. By the mid-1930s, the German population was well aware of Hitler's views on Jews, and the government was taking increasingly harsh measures against them. With a quarter of Semitic blood, Berni was considered by the authorities to be a Mischling, meaning a hybrid. While the racial laws of the Third Reich were not as hostile to them as they were to pure-blooded Jews, discrimination was still prevalent, and there was no guarantee that they were safe from the clutches of the Gestapo. Here you can see the testimony of a Mischling describing what they endured.
Und zu gleicher Zeit passierte es, dass die Mischlinge, also ich, verhaftet wurden und alle gemeinsam in ein Lager kamen, ins Löwenstein. Und da standen vor diesem Lager in der Rosenstraße, mitten im Zentrum der Stadt Berlin, Hunderte, ich sag nicht Tausende, aber insgesamt waren es Tausende. Denn die standen tagelang, die Frauen standen, meine Tanten, standen untergefasst so, gebt uns unsere Männer, gebt uns unsere Kinder.
Since all people who approached the Führer were investigated by intelligence services, Berni's Jewish ancestry was eventually discovered. In 1938, this information reached the ears of Martin Bormann, Hitler's personal secretary, who was outraged. He found it unacceptable that the Nazi leader exchanged letters with a Jewish girl while preaching that Semites were the cause of all the nation's woes. To make matters worse, it seems that the dictator had known about the girl's roots since 1933, shortly after they first met, although he had chosen to ignore them because he enjoyed her company. Bormann forbade Hitler's personal photographer from publishing images in which the Führer appeared with the girl and ordered the SS to prevent Berni and her mother from entering Berghof Chalet. For a while, the dictator was unaware of his secretary's actions, but he eventually found out about them because his photographer informed him. It is said that, at that moment, in a fit of rage, the Nazi leader said the following: "There are people who have a real talent for ruining my joy." However, Hitler did nothing to undo Bormann's orders and preferred to let the story remain in the past. It is possible that he realized it was more convenient to leave this issue behind so that no one would know that the girl everyone called his daughter was actually Jewish. From 1938 onwards, it is difficult to know what happened to Berni, as she never saw the dictator again, and there are hardly any documents referring to her. It is known that she studied to become a technical draftsman, but when she was 17, she contracted the terrible disease of polio. The young girl passed away on October 5, 1943, in a hospital in Munich, at the age of 17. She did not live to see the outcome of World War II or the fate of her uncle Hitler. Today, the story of Berni has been almost completely forgotten. Nonetheless, the original photographs of her with the Führer at Berghof continue to circulate and be sold at auctions. We have reached the end of the video. Please leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to learn about many more military events that left their mark on history.